October 20th, 2025, Soltanes Air Base. Defense Minister Pål Jonson watched as the first JAS-39 Gripen E fighter touched down on Swedish soil, a moment 12 years in the making. This wasn't just an aircraft delivery. This was the culmination of a 170 billion Swedish kroner military transformation that had quietly turned a historically neutral nation into Scandinavia's undisputed military powerhouse. Global Firepower's 2025 rankings confirmed what regional analysts already knew. Ranking 27th globally with a power index of 0.4835, the Nordic giant now sits 11 positions ahead of Norway, 38th, 18 ahead of Denmark, 45th, and 21 ahead of Finland, 48th. Not through aggressive expansion, through strategic modernization, indigenous defense technology, and a defense budget reaching 2.6% of GDP by 2028, matching or exceeding NATO's most committed members. This is the story of how a nation of 10.5 million people built the strongest military in Northern Europe by doing something most countries can't: producing world-class weapons domestically, mobilizing 280,000 trained personnel from reserves, and joining NATO not as a dependent ally, but as a technological equal. What separates this Nordic power from its neighbors isn't just money. It's technology they designed themselves. The JAS-39 Gripen E represents the pinnacle of fourth-generation multi-role fighters. AESA radar providing 360-degree threat awareness, electronic warfare suites that can update software within hours, and Meteor beyond visual range missiles giving pilots see-first, shoot-first dominance. According to Justin Bronk of Rusi, the Gripen is explicitly designed to counter Russian surface-to-air missiles and fast jets by flying very low and having an internal electronic warfare suite, and to be easy to maintain and operate from dispersed bases. This isn't theoretical. In 2025, Gripen C/D detachments deployed to Malbork Air Base for NATO enhanced air policing, proving interoperability before the E variant even arrived. The fleet will reach 60 Gripen E single-seaters and 10 F-trainers by the mid-2030s, operating alongside upgraded C/D models until 2040. Combined with 3 Global Eye surveillance aircraft, providing airborne early warning and control, the Air Force can establish air superiority across the Baltic and into the Arctic. But air power is just one domain. The Archer artillery system, 72 units ordered, can fire 3 aimed 155mm shells and relocate within 75 seconds to avoid counter-battery fire. 8 have been donated to Ukraine, where they've proven devastatingly effective. The system's longest-range Excalibur shells reach 31 miles with precision guidance. On land, approximately 120 Leopard 2 tanks, though some donated to Ukraine, combine with 500 CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles to create mobile armored formations. Underwater, Gotland-class and upcoming Blekinge-class submarines provide some of Europe's quietest diesel-electric platforms, designed specifically for shallow Baltic operations where nuclear submarines can't operate effectively. According to Neil Melvin of Rusi, Sweden notably brings to NATO a well-equipped army, over 100 advanced fighters, a modern navy including 5 submarines, as well as a technologically advanced defense industrial base. That final point, the industrial base, is what Norway, Denmark, and Finland lack at this scale. Active personnel number only 24,000, smaller than all 3 neighbors. But that number is deliberately misleading. Through restored conscription training 8,000 recruits annually, rising to 10,000 by 2030, the system creates a trained reserve pool of 870,000 citizens, nearly 16% of the population. In wartime, total strength reaches 88,000 immediately, supported by 7,100 reserve officers, 4,700 part-time enlisted, and 22,000 home guard. Within days, not weeks, the force can mobilize 280,000 personnel. That's rapid mobilization capability exceeding any NATO member except Israel. According to Air Force Chief Jonas Wickman, On a per capita basis, we have probably the most firepower in Europe. The artillery numbers support this claim. Approximately 1,500 weapons, including hundreds of howitzers and heavy mortars. That exceeds Germany and France's artillery, nations with populations 15 times larger. This isn't theoretical preparation. The 2024 defense resolution allocated over 170 billion Swedish kroner to military defense and 37.5 billion Swedish kroner to civil defense through 2030. Defense spending reached 2.2% of GDP in 2024 and will hit 2.6% by 2028, above the NATO minimum and higher than most European members. The 2026 budget alone increases 18% over 2025. When formal NATO membership came in March 2024, it transformed Northern European security. The accession extended NATO's border with Russia by 1,300 kilometers, doubled Arctic capabilities, and brought indigenous defense technology the alliance desperately needs. But unlike some new members who joined NATO seeking protection, this Nordic power joined as a technological peer. The Gripen E exports to Colombia, 17 aircraft signed November 2025, prove global demand for Swedish technology. The Archer system, Global Eye surveillance planes, CV-90 fighting vehicles, and submarine technology are now integrated into NATO's collective defense architecture. According to Defense Minister Johnson, Sweden's ambition is being a credible, reliable, and loyal ally. The rapid integration proves it. Joint exercises with US, UK, and Baltic forces occur regularly. Intelligence sharing through partial Five Eyes cooperation enhances situational awareness. And critically, the Nordic defense cooperation, NORDEFCO, with Denmark, Finland, Iceland, and Norway creates a unified Scandinavian defensive front. So why does the nation rank 27th globally, while Norway, 38th, Denmark, 45th, and Finland, 48th, trail behind? Indigenous defense industry. Norway and Denmark rely on imports. Finland produces some systems but lacks the comprehensive industrial base. Only this Nordic power manufactures fighters, artillery, submarines, and radar systems domestically. Mobilization capacity. 280,000 wartime strength from 10.5 million population creates per capita firepower no neighbor matches. Norway fields 23,000 active troops from 5.5 million people. Denmark operates 17,000 from 5.9 million. Finland's 280,000 reserve matches the number, but from twice the population. Technology sophistication. The Gripen E represents cutting-edge multi-role capability. Norway operates F-35s, excellent but American-dependent. Denmark fields F-16. Finland operates FA-18 Hornets. Only this nation produces its own advanced fighters. Defense commitment. 2.6% GDP by 2028 exceeds most NATO members. Norway spends 2.1%, Denmark 1.8%. Finland reached 2.4% in 2024, but lacks the indigenous production to absorb that spending domestically. According to military power rankings, combining indigenous defense industry, strategic Baltic position, and NATO integration creates a force multiplier effect that elevates Sweden above regional competitors. The transformation isn't complete. By 2030, personnel will reach 115,000, up from 88,000 today, growing to 130,000 by 2035. 4 brigade-strength formations will operate by 2030. Anti-drone capabilities accelerate from a 2036 deadline to 2028 delivery. Space domain capabilities begin development, including military satellites and indigenous launch capacity. Most significantly, the Future Fighter Program, KFS, Kommande Flygsystem, advances towards 6th-generation manned aircraft. After withdrawing from Team Tempest, Saab and GKN Aerospace began Phase 1 studies in March 2024, examining required technologies and future capabilities. Phase 2 extends through 2030 with demonstrator development. This represents something unique in European defense, a nation of 10.5 million planning indigenous sixth-generation fighter development. No Scandinavian neighbor can claim comparable ambition or capability. So why is this military now the strongest in Scandinavia? Not through size. Norway, Denmark, and Finland field respectable forces. Not through spending alone, though 2.6% GDP helps significantly. Through indigenous technology that no neighbor can match, mobilization capacity, creating Europe's highest per capita firepower, and strategic NATO integration that enhances rather than replaces national capability. With 100 plus Gripen fighters, 72 Archer artillery systems, Gotland and Blekinge submarines, 280,000 mobilization capacity, 170 billion CKK invested through 2030, and defense industrial base producing world-class systems, this Nordic power has achieved what few mid-sized nations accomplish: technological self-sufficiency backed by genuine military capability. The rankings confirm it, the technology proves it, and NATO membership ensures that Scandinavia's strongest military now anchors the alliance's northern flank. Do you think indigenous defense industries give mid-sized nations more strategic independence than relying on imports? Share your thoughts in the comments. For more analysis on European military modernization, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.